So in today's video we're going through putting our ceiling boards in. As you can see, got one on the bench behind us. That's actually the second ceiling board to go in because we've already got one in. So we'll show you what we've done so far, because I didn't film doing that one. That was a little experiment to see the best ways of doing things, which I messed up a bit, but oh well.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. So
follow us.
As you can see, we now have a ceiling board in. We've got a slight issue with the skylight of the blind trim not fitting properly, but I'll make a plywood trim piece that fits all the way around this so you can't see that. So we'll sort that out, and you need to make a trim piece for the end here where everything's a bit uneven and shite. But yeah, screws are evenly spaced towards that point, but behind the skylight here I've had to put more screws in and in different places because the ceiling board just didn't want to attach properly, and the same in front of the skylight, and I put a screw hole in the wrong place. So, oh, and that screw doesn't actually go into anything. I need to take that out, and that'll need filling and repainting. So we're going to get that board in here, get it scribed in, ready to go. So I'll stick you on time lapse and you can watch us do that. So as you can see, we scribed our line in and we've got it cut with jigsaw. So now we're going to hang the board back up onto the ceiling, see how it fits, and then make any adjustments from there. So we've got all our lines scribed on the board and it fits nicely up against that edge, nicely against the headliner. What we've done is we've drew a mark in permanent marker along the ceiling so we can use it as a datum to measure across for the light pockets, and then use this edge as a datum to measure up to the light pockets. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure up, transfer our marks onto this and get the holes cut for lighting pockets. Once we've cut all the holes, we'll get the board up, screwed in place, and then for the Maxxfan cutout, we'll route that out with a trim router, and the same with our toilet extractor. I've got a 1/4 inch bit in the trim router with a ball bearing that'll ride on the inside of this, so we'll get a perfect hole. So I think we'll probably stick them on time lapse.
Or I could record the first one so that they can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll get set up, I'll get Chantal recording the first one, then we'll stick you on time lapse for me measuring out the rest, and then we'll probably do the exact same thing with cutting the holes. So I'm going to take a measurement from the edge of this board, which is our first datum. So we're looking 155mm to the centre, maybe actually 160, yeah, 160 from that point to the centre. So we come along on here, come up 160, and put a little mark. So then we go from our datum line that we drew on here across to the centre, and we're looking at 135.
We've done that wrong.
So we come across. $135. So that 160, in theory. No, I've done this wrong. I think I have. 160. Is there? Yeah, I did do it wrong. And then we go. It's got a 135. Bring that across. Put a little L to signify it's a light pocket. Got dust in my eye again. And that's how we're doing it. So stick you on time lapse and we'll get on with that. So, I don't know if you can see it, but we've got all our lighting holes marked up. Now, I've gone for a slightly bigger size on the hole saw compared to the light, so it makes it easier to remove them if they ever go wrong. If they do rattle about or they don't stay up properly, we'll just put a dab of silicone on them and that'll hold them in place, but it's easy enough to break off to replace them if we ever have to. Because I tested it, if you do a hole the same size, you can't get them out without breaking the board. So, well. There goes nothing. Let's hope these are in the right place. What do we reckon?
Hopefully.
Always keep all your little pucks because they come in handy for all sorts, and if you screwed up your hole you can always sort of glue them back in and put filler over them. What I've done is I've just got the piece on a piece of 50mm Kingspan Eco-Firm, whatever you want to call it, insulation. It just gives it a good support, and it doesn't matter if the hole saw drills into it. If you get a cleaner cut, it just supports it better than anything else really. So there we go, got all the holes drilled. So we'll take this into the van now. We'll see whether they're in the right place, hopefully they are. We did measure twice and cut once, but there's no proper datum lines on the van to take any measurements off to do these, so we've done it a bit of a dodgy botch way, but we shall see how it turns out. So, we'll catch you back in the van. I don't like it too bad then, actually. Right, and there we go, it's in. The holes don't line up too bad. Let's get some screws in it so Chantal doesn't have to stand there like an idiot. As much as we'd like to laugh at her doing that.
Thanks, babe.
Oh, she's got the coronavirus. Yeah. Right, so it's in. Let's take a recce what the light holes are like. That one's a touch off, but we'll get away with it. That one's bob on. Touch off, but we'll get away with it. Touch off, but we'll get away with it. Perfect. Perfect. So, done well there. All the light holes are in exactly the right place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike lines across the board to signify where the battens are and mark the hole centres for the screws so they're all uniform, and get some screws in. So I'll stick you on time lapse while we do that. So, we've got the second part of the ceiling in. Got all our cables pulled through for our lights. The holes lined up perfectly, done really well on that. Now I'm going to drill a 16mm hole with a spade bit here where the extractor fan for the toilet is. Then once I've done my 16mm hole, I'm going to take my trim router with a trimming bit, flush trimming bit with a ball bearing, push that up. That'll touch to the inside of the extractor, and then I can route out that hole perfectly, which in turn will take this tube into it, the hole drilled for the power cable, straight in. So I'll do that now. I won't stick you on time lapse, but I probably will mute the audio for this because it'll be loud as hell. Put a little bit of music over it. So let's get on with it and hope that I've measured this hole for the right place. So Oh, perfect. So I drilled that hole spot on in the right place. Did really, really well there actually. So we get our trim router. First thing I'm going to do, set me depth. If it'll let me. There we go. This trim router was only cheap. It's Ferex. I think it was like 20 quid from Lidl. Lidl middle aisle bargains. Gotta love them. So let's bring this down a bit more. Oh, there we go. Straight off. So it's not amazing, this trim router, but it does the job. So I'll try that. It's going to be noisy now, so I'll probably put some music over it. Oh, brilliant. So we need to take this up a bit more. I've slightly ballsed up there. We'll have that. Right, and I've got a slightly loose power cable on this, so I'll have to strip it down and have a look at that. But what do you expect for cheap? There we go. It's not the neatest, but it'll do. And that little balls up I've done there will be covered by our hygiene board that I'm gonna trim. That I'm gonna do the whole bathroom in. So let's take this up a bit. Oh. So there we go. make sure this fits in. No, so I need to take a bit more off this side here. There we go. Now we're going to do the exact same thing here for the Maxxfan. Drill a hole, get the trim router on it, and trim it up. So, I know the Maxxfan's roughly here for centre, so there we go. We will reduce the stick out on this a touch. So there we go. I've messed up a bit on that, but it will do. I'll have to clean up that foil tape. And as I said, do as I say, not as I do. Wear some goggles if you're doing that. So I should get this foil taped. I'll go and get the trim panel for this. We'll wire it in, get the trim panel up. I'll show you all that in a minute. So we've got one that hasn't really gone into anything, but should be alright. So our Maxxfan's wired up, the cable comes down over here. We've got our extractor in, the ceiling is basically done. I don't know if I'm going to cover these because there's going to be cupboards there, so it shouldn't really matter. If I do that, I'll do that another time, probably be off camera. So I'm going to pop all my lights in, get them in, and I might set up a test and get all the lights lit up, probably besides the bathroom lights, and show you that in a minute. So we will catch you in a bit.
Hi, so the ceiling boards are in, the lights are wired except for the bathroom ones. They're in their holes and let there be light. Ta-da! So as you can see, we've got the skylight covered so that it doesn't let any light in, to see how bright they would be. Not extremely bright white, but it's just the right amount, we think. because we don't want it too bright in here that we can't see, but also we don't want it too dark that we can't see either. So we've gone for a nice in the middle.
The thing is, as well, is over the kitchen area where the kitchen cupboards are, I'll put a bright light LED strip underneath there, and the cupboards over there, that'll be over the bench seat, demonstrate, you can't tell, and they'll have a colour changing strip. The overcap storage will have a colour changing strip underneath. The bedroom storage there will have a colour changing strip.
Right here.
But as you can see, it hasn't worked out too bad. And we've got our posh light switch
Botched in at the moment.
botched in, which has a dimmer. So obviously you can hardly tell on the camera due to it auto exposing. But oh, you can tell a bit. Oh no. So we've also got the shrouding around the Maxxfan, looking very nice. Chantel's rubbed out all my pencil lines that are on the ceiling.
Yeah.
But it's getting there.
Sure is. Next is to dun dun dun. Don't know what is next.
Oh dear. Next. How do you not know what's next?
Thermoline and the pods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just thermoline in them.
Insulating them.
Let's put, so I can turn this round.
Oh yeah. Just
Right.
showing them instead.
Right, so the next part of the build is to insulate the pods, thermoline them. Then we're gonna get the sideboards cut for around the pods. So this here, get that part cut out of the board, so then we can draw around it and thermoline up to that point. And then we'll foil tape onto some bubble wrap insulation. That just means when we slot that board over, the thermoliner sits in with the board. It stops any cold points when one of us rolls over in bed. Oh.
Do I look pretty underneath this
Colour
light?
temperature's terrible on them. So yeah, the colour
Makes you look more ginger.
it does make you look ginger, doesn't it?
Right.
I'm ginger anyway, so. But yeah, the colour temperature on them's terrible.
Kind of looks like he's been to the Highlands.
But yeah, so the next one is to get on with them. The only thing we're not happy about with the ceiling boards really is that gap. So it's either going to get sealed up around it using some white Sikaflex or something, or I'm going to make a nice trim and paint it white. Probably sealant.
Probably. No, Connor.
What are you trying to say?
Stick it with Sikaflex, it'll be fine.
Sikaflex fixes everything. So, on that note, that's this week's episode. I don't think there's anything else more to add, is there?
I think so.
We've got all the ceiling in. That strip down the side there, I don't think we're going to bother now because the cupboards are going to cover that. If I do that, I'll do it at a later date. I don't really think.
If I do that.
If I do that, you really want to watch me cut a couple of strips and stick them up. So, until next week's, keep safe at this time of uncertainty and weirdness, and not being able to get materials, and people panic buying toilet roll.
Woo!
Woo! So, if you've liked this video, hit subscribe, ring the little bell, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and also go and follow us on Instagram, which is at C and the word and C Vanlife. That's our Instagram handle. So if you follow us on there, you'll get better idea of what's going on day to day, because we update day by day. We don't update YouTube daily.
No.
Haven't got time for that shit.
Nope.
Sadly, I have to work.
I don't.
It's alright for some. But yeah, so we shall catch you next time. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and don't forget, follow us on Instagram, give us a subscribe.
Ring the bell.
What else?
Comment. We love your comment.
What else? Rubbish, isn't she? Give us a thumbs up. So on that note, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. We're back. So a little bonus bit for the end of this video is we've set up a little test bench. So got a little fuse box, a couple of bits wired in. We've got our lights wired in, and the Maxxfan's wired back in. So that now works. Again. So that's, oh, and also fix that. It's now sitting up, particularly in the right place now. So we're happy, aren't we?
Woohoo!
It's been a productive day.
Sure is.
So what we're gonna do now?
Pods. Insulate them.
No, what we're gonna do right now?
Oh, we're gonna clean up and get rid
Clean
of
up.
everything, all the shit out of here, because it is a mess.
So for real this time, we are going the normal. Subscribe, blah de blah de blah. Follow us on Instagram. We're actually going for real this time.
We are.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.